Hi, my name is Curtis Baird. I'm with Sure Response. Today we want to talk about and show you exactly what our new nationwide radio is all about. Really, they call this push to talk, but I'm thinking for a simpler kind of way, we call it nationwide radio. It means that you can talk to people anywhere in the nation, anywhere in the state, anywhere in your county, anywhere in your community, or anywhere in your town. So this here is the PNC360. It is our basic workhorse that makes all the communication happen. When I key this up, I'm going to be talking to my team members that are scattered throughout through the country. So I'll just do a quick radio check. Hey, radio check.
Loud and clear here in Palm Coast, Florida.
All right, very good. That's one of my guys in Palm Coast, Florida. You can see that there's hardly any delay and that they can hear it almost instantaneous. So that's the PNC 360. We also have a PNC 380. And it gives you the ability to have the PNC 380. The PNC 380 is just a slightly bigger version of the PNC 360, and the 380 has the ability to it has a full keypad, and it also has the ability to do video, take pictures. It's got a camera on the back. So if that's an important feature for you, it's another solution. But almost everybody that we talk with uses the PNC 360. It's a great small little radio, clips on. So this one here is showing the battery clip on the side, which is pretty cool. And we use these all day long to talk to our team members who are scattered all over the United States, and also the folks that are scattered here within our local communities. So one of the real interesting things about nationwide radio is you have just regular walkie-talkies that you're utilizing throughout your plant, throughout your community. One of the really nice things about our system is we have this radio stack here. This is sold as a kit, so it comes together, and once it's functioning, it gives you the ability for these push to talk or the nationwide radios to communicate with legacy radios, right? And there's a lot of people who are selling this or have talked about it, but in every instance of it that I've seen, it just doesn't do a very good job. So let's just take a quick look here. So here we want to introduce one other really great feature of these nationwide radios or push to talk over cellular radios is that we actually have a radio stack here that gives us the ability to communicate from the nationwide radio to a standard either DMR radio or a UHF radio or analog radio. So kind of putting that in regular speak, you can take the nationwide radio and communicate with analog radios and with regular radios that you would use, just regular walkie-talkies that you might already have in your current fleet at your plant. Which the beauty of this is, with these radios, you can already communicate with all of your existing radios and all of the people who happen to be on site. But when people travel off site, you're not able to communicate anymore. But by putting this stack in place, you can now use these radios to talk to these radios. Here, we'll take a quick look at it. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
And then going back the other way. Testing from the DMR radio.
Loud and clear here in Palm Coast, Florida.
Awesome. So, testing the other way, we'll key up the radio and talk through the PNC 360. So the neat thing about the PNC 360 or any of the nationwide radios is they give us the ability to communicate with anybody in the nation that has another one of these radios, the ability to communicate with somebody within the state or within the county or even within your local community area or town. One of the beauties of this and the reason that people would need to use this kind of technology is it gives them the ability to reach individuals who are further away than from their primary communication area. So if you have buses or if you have trucks or you have other things that need to travel about, you are dispatching people, you have the ability to still stay in touch with them or allow them to stay in touch with you. The other thing is we have a web browser-based dispatch system that gives you the ability to take a look and see where those individual radios are at, scattered around the community, state, or nation, and then you can have a conversation with them directly through the dispatch system, that's a pretty cool thing. The dispatch system also gives you the ability to set up some geofences. So that's kind of a fancy word for you can draw a circle or an irregular shape around a particular map area. And if somebody goes out of that map area, you're going to receive an alert, which is kind of cool. So that way you know if people are staying within where they're supposed to be, or if they're coming back to the main location. And then you can be alerted that they're arriving. You could also be alerted that they're departing the main location. So there's a lot of different ways to set that up. In terms of how do these radios actually work, there's different channels that you can establish. We can put almost an unlimited number of channels so that individuals can speak and talk to different people depending on what their job function is. So if you had folks who were out on the road, you could put them in a single category. Maybe you had some that were in one state versus another state. They could be in yet a different one. You have the ability to do priority interrupt. So if there's multiple people talking and you want to be able to barge in and to be able to give out a safety alert, you have the ability to do that. You can even, with any of these devices, you have the ability to send a text message. So from the dispatch system or from one of the radios, you could actually send a message or give somebody some critical bit of information, like the phone number or an actual physical address of wherever those people are trying to go. I think the other really compelling reason of the nationwide radio is you don't have to worry about repeaters, right? You don't have to worry about going out of that range. It's just simply going to work anywhere that you happen to be in the country. And then with our bridge unit here, it gives you the ability to talk to your legacy radios that you have back at your main site or at multiple main sites, right? So it's pretty cool. I think the whole way that it works, the functionality that it gives you. We even have a mobile unit that can be mounted into a vehicle, and as that vehicle drives around, it's just like a regular radio, whether it was a DMR or CB type radio, but it can communicate with all of the other radios that are out there in the marketplace. So today we're here talking about the nationwide radio, or the push-to-talk over cellular radios that Hytera has. This is the PNC360. So the way that the functionality of these radios take place is it uses the cellular network, hence push-to-talk over cellular, but at the same time it has the ability to switch over to Wi-Fi signal. So if you're in a building that's a bunker and you have absolutely no cellular coverage and you still want to communicate with these, anywhere that you have Wi-Fi, you can log on to the Wi-Fi using this just like you would a cell phone. And now it's going to use that network automatically or switch over to the cellular as it has it available. So automatically switching between Wi-Fi and cellular. So as you leave the building and you start driving away, it's going to automatically move right back to cellular and you won't even notice. So one other interesting thing, I travel a lot, right? I'm involved in sales and I visit a lot of our customers scattered all over the United States. Many times I'm driving to very remote areas, and I'm here to tell you my cell phone doesn't always give me good coverage, right? So I'm trying to talk on my cell phone to the office and I've got a question or two that I need to get with them. This little device, this little PNC360 has never failed me everywhere that I've ever gone, even if my cell phone's not working. Not real sure how that works. I don't know what the data compression is or exactly how that takes place, but I do know this. I'm able to talk to people pretty much anywhere that I've ever been with crystal clarity back to my entire group and my entire team. So one of the things that my team asked me about with regard to these is, can't you use a push-to-talk app on your cell phone? And I'd say you absolutely can use a push-to-talk app on your cell phone, but one of the problems that we've ran into and one of the issues that we see is that app doesn't always stay awake. So when somebody's trying to talk to you, it's not going to be there. The other thing is, the primary reason people are moving over to this type of technology is to avoid the cell phone, right? People bring their cell phones to work, and we'd like to think that they are only conducting business when they're on their cell phone, but probably the truth is something a little bit different. I've talked with construction individuals, people who are in the construction industry, and they say, you know, it's a huge problem when somebody's talking with their loved one on the cell phone while they're also trying to do their job, and there's nobody on site to kind of monitor and make sure that's not happening. What they're able to do is give them one of these PNC 360s because they're unbelievably affordable. It doesn't even cost the same as what a cell phone coverage costs, and they're able to stay in communication with that individual or that group of individuals, right? So they're able to talk to them, and they don't have to have their cell phone. So I don't know if it's a better argument to say, you could use an app on a cell phone, which is going to give you somewhat of decent coverage, but it comes and goes. Or if it's better to say, really, we don't even want the cell phone on the job site. We don't want the cell phone brought to work. We want to be able to stay in communication with our people, but we don't want them to be on their cell phone doing any kind of personal stuff, or worse yet, they're driving down the road. We certainly don't want them picking up their cell phone and taking a call. There, I see the red light. Okay. So one other neat feature about the nationwide radio system is we can set up different types of channels. So there is like your standard channel that you would have with a regular radio. When you're on that channel, you can talk to the people who are also on that same channel. You can also have what they call a response group or response channel, which means on that channel, and you can be added or not, but it's kind of like putting a scan list together of which channels you want to be able to hear communication, even though you're not on that particular channel. And then there's a bit of a hang time. So the notion would be, let's say your primary channel is the main office and main warehouse, and then you click over to or somebody's talking on one of the other channels, which might be for a second warehouse or another location, even somewhere else in the country, and you want to hear the traffic and the communication there, your radio will pick that up automatically and transmit it to you so that you get to hear that. So that's pretty cool. So two basic kinds of, there's the participant type channel where if you're on that channel, that's what you're going to receive. And then there's response channel, which means if you don't have to be on the channel, but you'll be able to hear that. And that can be set up on an individual user basis. So one other, kind of in conclusion, the nice thing about all of these devices and the nationwide radio is they operate almost exactly like your standard walkie-talkie. The difference is you don't have any limits. You can travel anywhere that you want, and as long as there's a cellular or Wi-Fi signal that's available to you, you're going to be able to communicate with people and stay in touch. So the nice thing about these radios is it gives us the ability to communicate with anybody, anywhere. And right now, I've actually got this keyed up and I'm talking to one of my teammates that's located in Palm Coast, Florida. So Tom, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, very good. So it's pretty neat the way that this whole communication is allowing us to talk just by hitting the simple button on the side, and we can talk to you instantly. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree, and the clarity and reception is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's also kind of neat that we have the ability to put a headset on this. So if we don't want the entire world to hear what we're talking about, it could talk directly into my ear. We also have Bluetooth headsets that are available that would allow you to communicate directly with this.
I agree.
One other thing that I noticed was I actually, whenever I'm using my cell phone, I have a Bluetooth thing that sits into my ear and it does a fine job. But one of the things that's kind of nice is I can also pair it up with this device here, and I didn't actually think that would work, but it works pretty well. It doesn't have a push to talk button on it, but I can key this up when it's on the belt clip, and then everybody has the ability to then hear me and I can hear them with pretty good clarity.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
Yep, I like it a lot because that means I don't have to have a wire running down to the radio. But if you wanted the wire, if that didn't bother you, sometimes that's a little bit safer and less hassle than messing around with Bluetooth. It's a really good way to go. What I can say with regard to durability, but you know the cool thing is the PNC 360 has Gorilla Glass. It's also semi-waterproof, right? It can handle heavy jets of water spraying into it, so you can certainly take it out in the rain and it's going to be perfectly fine. Guess there's a question as to whether or not you could throw it in the swimming pool and let it sink all the way down to the bottom and then it would function. We'll probably make another video down the road here and actually test that and see what actually happens if we drop this thing in some water and see whether or not it can hold up. I suspect it's like most things. If you drop it in water accidentally, it's probably going to be just fine. But if you leave it in water overnight or for an extended period of time like that, it's probably going to give you a lot of trouble. So in terms of durability, it does have the ability to be dropped from pretty high. You know, it's got military spec 810G, so that's pretty strong, pretty powerful for it. And I don't know, it seems like a good durable radio. We have our construction people using them. They bang into all kinds of stuff. They get knocked off all the time. And we've had these in function for over a year now, and they're working just fine. So one of the downfalls of the whole nationwide radio device is that you have to have service with it, right? It needs cellular service, it needs Wi-Fi, but then on top of that, it also needs to connect with the platform. That's what unifies all the different devices and gives you all the different channels. So without that service, these things are pretty much worthless. They can't communicate between each other unless they go through one of these unifying platforms. So having said that, I've seen a lot of products that are for sale that allow you to talk nationwide, right? There are competitors out there and such. One of the things that's nice about Hytera and using their platform, which they call Horizon, is they've been around for a while, right? They've been in this market for a very long time. They're not some new company that's just showing up. And they are probably the second largest provider of radios, two-way radios in the world, you know, behind the Big M company. And so with that in mind, that gives us the confidence that this product and this service is going to be available for a long time. So, all right, so with Hytera being in business for such a long time, it gives me confidence that the product is going to be supported for a while. And on top of that, the platform is going to be there and be operational so that you're not terribly concerned. It actually operates on the AWS platform, which is Amazon's cloud computing platform. And it has redundancy built into there, which is an upgrade from their old service, which was actually Halo. Now, I will tell you this, I've seen several other companies that are offering various packages and programs. They say there's no contract, they say there's no monthly fees, they say that there's no commitment or anything. The fact of the matter is you're paying for something and it's baked into the price. So we have programs and pricing that kind of fit pretty much anybody's need. So if you have money to spend and you want to make this a capital purchase, you can buy everything up front and it's going to give you a couple of years of service all baked into one price. Or if your capital is important to you and you want to have a monthly expense, we can bake more of it all into the monthly price, and so you can move along that way. But to have a good quality product, to have a good quality service that's connected to make sure that it's going to work every single time that you want to use it, you're going to pay for that service. Nothing's free. One of the complaints that I've had from users of these devices, right, they're connected to the cellular network, they're connected to the Wi-Fi network, so they ought to be kind of like a cell phone, right? Well, they're not. They are a very nice communication device, but the problem with them is you can't pull up Facebook, you can't pull up YouTube, you can't pull up Snap, you can't pull up Instagram, you can't pull up LinkedIn, you can't pull up any of the things that you can with a cell phone. Which, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? I don't know, it's one of those things where it depends on what your purpose is. If you just want good communication amongst your team and not a lot of frills and not a lot of extra things going on so that they can stay focused on doing their job, then this is a good way to go, the nationwide. So the nationwide walkie-talkie, or also known as push-to-talk over cellular, gives somebody gives the user the ability to be able to travel anywhere, right? And they're going to be able to stay in touch with other people who are possessing these devices. So folks who are providing services, like HVAC, construction, electrical contractors, plumbing contractors, city services that are being provided. There's a lot of times where the radios for the city people don't necessarily reach everywhere, and so they're losing connectivity. We've seen folks with universities. This allows them to be able to communicate with everybody without having to deploy expensive repeater equipment. And so it really becomes anybody who is not to a confined space, it gives them an incredible ability to be able to communicate. More and more we're using the cellular network for data so that we can stream movies, we can do pretty much anything that we want. It's kind of nice to be able to have a single-use device that allows you to communicate back and forth, as opposed to a device that has all the different distractions. So if you're using this for work, if you're using this for going on a hike or something, it gives you good communication. Cellular services have become more and more prevalent. There are some buildings and some places where you can go where you're not going to get good cellular coverage, especially if you're locked in a concrete bunker. But if there's Wi-Fi available, that's going to fill the gap, and it will go seamlessly between Wi-Fi and cellular, just like your cell phone works. Yeah, absolutely. Using the codecs, the programming that's inside of here that takes your voice and squishes it down into something small and then transmits it. It does an excellent job of that, and the data usage is pretty minimal. Typically, these devices are sold with a 500 meg data plan per month, and so that's gonna cover you for pretty much all the communication that you would ever think, because we're just talking basic voice. All right. It works by using the cellular network and using Wi-Fi network. Uses the platform, so there's a third-party platform that's out there, or for us, it's our service that's all included, and it allows you to go anywhere and be able to communicate with your people, whether that's your staff or whether that's friends and family or whatever. And it's pretty nice not to have to worry about range or distance or whether or not somebody's hearing you or not hearing you. This is a pretty clear device. The other thing is it works just like a regular walkie-talkie. From a usability standpoint, you can have as many channels on here as you want. You have the ability for it to scan to those channels, just like a regular walkie-talkie would work that might be used in a commercial environment. And it's also completely private. So unlike basic walkie-talkie, even if you're getting FCC frequencies, this is complete private communication. There aren't people listening in, unless of course they have the devices and they're part of your team and they're on that. But regular walkie-talkie, somebody can have a scanner and listen to it, or they can just have a walkie-talkie, get your frequencies, and they're able to listen to that because it's all public.
Loud and clear here in Palm Coast, Florida.
Okay, great. So I'm talking over my DMR or my analog radio, and I'm actually talking to you in Palm Coast, Florida, and I'm actually located in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Sounds like you're in the same room with me.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you.